How's it going, everybody? Mr. Holton here, and the day has finally come. Patch 7 for Baldur's Gate 3 has finally officially released, and just like in usual fashion, I will be going into the patch notes and be reading them for you, and I'll be trying my very best here to avoid spoilers if possible, but since this is known as the Evil Endings patch, probably going to be a little bit difficult. So just a forewarning here, I'm going to try my best here, but there might be some spoilers here. Alright, so starting off, here it says patch 7 now live, and we get a pretty sweet shot here of the Dark Urge and, well, this thing. Hey gang, are you ready to embrace evil? Do you yearn to see the consequences of unleashing your inner jerk? Great, because patch 7 releases on PC today, on PC. And with it comes new Evil Ending cinematics along with honor mode improvements and new legendary action split screen improvements, a new way to mod your game, and a whole bunch of gameplay improvements and bug fixes. Mac and console players, this is one of those patches that is so packed with changes and new features, including official modding support for all platforms, that is going to take a little longer to get this patch through all the necessary technical checks and requirements and into your hands. Although later than we originally expected, patch 7 is headed to console and Mac in October, so you guys are going to have to wait a month, unfortunately. And we will keep you updated with our progress. But, you know, this is what it takes when it comes to, like, introducing official mod support and stuff like this, just because it's just so complicated. It's pretty advanced to make all of that work, while also making it work for PC as well. So I don't blame them for having to delay it. Anyway, unfortunately, this does mean that console players will not be able to load cross saves if they come from patch 7 on PC, and multiplayer between PC and Mac will not be possible. We're still working on bringing crossplay to Baldur's Gate 3, and like patch 7, this requires a lot of work and testing before we're prepared to release it into the wild. So again, crossplay is coming. Don't worry. They've confirmed it here, so we are getting crossplay in case you want to be able to play with your friends on console if you're playing on PC and vice versa. We've still got a few more patches up our sleeve for Baldur's Gate 3, so this is not going to be the last patch that I thought it was going to be, which is great because there are some things that I still want to see in this, you know, for the game, which will include both crossplay and photo mode. There we go. Exactly what I was thinking about, alongside other fixes and updates, but eventually all stories must come to an end, of course. As Fen said during last week's PAX West panel in Seattle, our final live panel for Baldur's Gate 3, it's time for the team to go back to our cave and hang the armor on the wall while we focus on bringing you our next project. And that's going to come after some more Baldur's Gate 3 patches, which I will be covering, so remember to subscribe, of course. But yeah, they obviously want to work on their next game, and I want to see them working on their next game as well, because I just can't wait to see it. And of course, there's a link here in case you want to check out the panel for yourselves if you haven't already. Patch 7 is certainly a big one, and we've been busy tackling feedback and game bugs thanks to the help of mod authors who've been testing and populating the modding hub, as well as players who have been sharing their experience with patch 7 during the closed beta. Now, I've been trying out the closed beta myself. I haven't gotten very far because I've been talking about other games and playing other games as well, because I want to cover other games as well, so I haven't been able to, you know, try out the entire beta, because Baldur's Gate 3 is a massive game, of course. Thank you to all of you who had the opportunity to take part. The playtest is now ended, and we'll be taking this experience and carrying learnings from it into the future. Patch 7 is approximately 11.6 gigabytes on PC. I noticed that when I was downloading just now, and will require 160 gigabytes of free space to install. If you find yourself without the space to install the update, we recommend uninstalling Baldur's Gate 3 and then re-downloading the patched version, usually the best way to do it. As with any patch, some third-party mods may still become incompatible after our latest update, of course. Please try uninstalling your mods and confirm whether the issue persists without them installed, and if you have any other issues with it, you can just go ahead and contact Larian, of course. We know many third-party mods utilize Script Extender, and as part of the toolkit and patch testing with mod authors, efforts to help support compatibility with patch 7 should mean that mods that require Script Extender will continue to work. So that's good stuff for any of you who use that. I use it, for example. And a big thank you to Norbite. That's a huge shout out, creator of Script Extender, and to all of the mod authors who have contributed to the toolkit with their feedback. We couldn't have done it without you. Look at that, just spreading the love to the people who keep your game alive after it's been released. And with that, let's take a look at this thing. Does corruption call your name? Now, again, slight spoiler here maybe, so remember, I warned you. Here we get a small tease of one of the new endings, like it seems. This seems to be Will's, one of his evil endings, I guess. Now, again, I haven't played through the entire new patch, so obviously a lot of this is new to me. This one, I had no idea they were going to introduce to any of your companions. That's pretty cool. The Sword Coast is yours to command, to rule like no other. Whether you embraced absolute power, carried out your father's will, played as an origin character, or were generally a menace to society, you'll find patch 7 now introduces 13 new cinematics that offer varying conclusions to your most evil playthroughs. Good stuff. I know one person who's going to have a lot of fun with this. If you're a streamer who is very demure, very mindful, and use the show cinematic nudity option in the game setting, it's worth noting that we've now renamed this option to show sexual and violent cinematics, and updated its description to more accurately indicate what it does. This setting toggles explicit content plus a few select moments of extreme violence that may be distressing to some. We might have also embraced corruption a little too much because the new evil ending cinematics have been included in this setting. Oh my, they're that bad, huh? They really are that evil. This setting does not affect your adventure, your choices, or your access to romance options. However, it does block sexual content with nudity and particularly violent scenes with gore. So it's good for any of you who just can't take the more adult themes of this game. Anyway, we got Lae'zel here with a little teaser of her ending as well. She got her dragon, but at what cost? We remember clearly stating in Community Update 28 that if you are playing as a Dark Urge, a certain bard would now be able to join the party as a controllable character at camp if there's an empty slot. Temporarily. It would seem some of you didn't pick up what we were putting down. There are no new companions. There is only death. And most of you obviously know what's going on here. There's a certain character that pops up that, well, it doesn't really end well. And it doesn't end well still. It doesn't really matter here. There's no new companions, no. The day the music dies. New honor mode legendary actions. Okay, this is cool. To add to the nightmare fuel, we've also made some improvements to honor mode combat, like giving Malice Storm a new legendary action called Grasping Appendage. Gross. So yeah, it's probably going to be a little bit more difficult now for a lot of people. Can just be pulled down from the ledge there. It's cool that they add new mechanics to bosses to make them a little bit more difficult. I appreciate that. New way to mod Baldur's Gate 3. Of course, here we go into the official mod support. The big thing, I think, is, of course, aside from the evil endings. Please note that Baldur's Gate 3 toolkit is not currently live, but will become available later today. Thank you for your patience. Okay, cool. We're also bringing you another way to mod your Baldur's Gate 3 saves, with patch 7 introducing our very own in-game mod manager and modding toolkit, which can be downloaded on Steam for PC players. With this new and supported way to create and install mods, you should see improvements in compatibility and accessibility and can rest more assured that your supported mods work whenever you're playing Baldur's Gate 3, which will include consoles a little down the line, of course, as they mentioned above, in October, of course. So this is what the in-game mod manager looks like. I'm gonna put it up on the screen here for you guys to see. This is what it looks like for me. So it looks like a simplistic mod manager, really. Like it looks all right. It's essentially what I expected from what the mod manager will look like. What's more important really is like the amount of mods. Right now, there's not like a giant list of mods. As you can see here, there's like 10 pages of mods right now that's available from start. They're obviously going to add to that, I think. There are some mods that are missing here that I like using, for example, like there's Vampiren's Other Heads. That is, one of my favorite head mods, I guess, for making a lot of my characters very attractive and good looking. Then we have, of course, the Cambion mod, which allows you to play as a Cambion. And, there's a slew of other mods that I prefer using and that I want to be able to use. Hopefully they can get that working with the mod authors as well. And that's the thing, when you have official mod support, it's a very complicated process because you need to be in constant contact with the mod authors themselves, and they need to be able to update their mods according to the game as well when there's new patches and stuff. So, I'm not expecting a lot of the mods that I'm using to come in here, but I'm hopeful. And, in case you have any of the more popular mods, remember to reach out to Larian if you still want to update your mods for people to use, because like some of these that I mentioned right now, I feel like just needs to be officially supported because I like them that much. Mods that are created and uploaded via our toolkit can be browsed and installed directly from the game itself. And also, like, installing mods is just super simple. You just select whatever you want to install and just that's it. There's nothing else to it. It's super simplistic, super easy. Manage your mods for multiplayer parties by ensuring you have the same mods installed and enabled. So if you want to be able to play with people like later on when they introduce crossplay, for example, so if you are playing on PC and you want to play with people on console and they have a couple of mods installed, then you got to make sure that you have the same mods installed as well, as, you know, just to make sure that the game is stable and doesn't collide or anything. So yeah, make sure that, you know, further down the line, you guys are using the same mods because you might be crashing otherwise and stuff. So yeah, then we have the Baldur's Gate 3 toolkit that's coming out later today for all of you mod authors out there. And here are some instructions on how to exactly like download and use the editor and toolkit. So if you want to check that out, I've added the link to the description and the comment section. And here are some more links on like what type of mods you can create, you know, some guidelines on what is allowed and how to do it, you know, how to actually create mods and stuff. So again, check out the link. But if we pop down to the patch 7 highlights, we've got the introducing evil endings, brand new cinematic endings for truly villainous playthroughs, added our very own mod manager, revamped split screen gameplay. When playing on split screen, the two halves of the screen will now dynamically merge together when player characters come close to each other in game. That's pretty cool. So dynamic split screen. This revamp comes alongside many other improvements and polishes to improve the overall split screen experience. Okay, so we got some honor mode combat changes here. If Draw Ragslin finds himself inside the spider pit, he'll try his best to befriend the spiders residing there with a new spell called Arachnid Compulsion, so they can band together to fight the real enemy, you. Okay, that's gonna make it a lot harder. The Bullet has a new condition called Diamond Scales and a new legendary action called Shredding Scales. Malice Storm has a new legendary action that we saw above called Grasping Appendage, added a new aura and spell for spectators, a Panicked Sentinel and Ocular Nightmare respectively. I hate those guys, so that's going to be really annoying. Chirai Skran, the leader of the Githyanki ambush in Act 2, has a new legendary action called Soul Sacrifice. Chirai Harak, the Githyanki leader at the Knights of the Shield hideout, has a new legendary action called Tunarath's Embrace. Petarius has a new legendary action called Petarian Dogma. We get some new UI changes here, revised and reorganized the in-game video options to be more logical and robust. You now have upscaling type drop down, an upscaling mode drop down, and an upscaling sharpness slider, followed immediately by the options that are affected by them. So sharper UI, cool. Update the reactions UI so that you only have to toggle the reactions you want to use and then confirm them. This saves you from having to select do not react multiple times. Added a new equipment options menu to the character sheet on controller. The panel that opens to donate magic items to Gale will now also show items in your traveler's chest. It also now indicates which items are currently equipped. We noticed some of you hiccoughing bubbles, so the action for washing yourself with soap and sponges is now called use instead of consume. Fixed your player character's name getting reverted to custom during character creation if you moved on to create your Dream Guardian and then went back to edit the player character again. A minor bug. Fixed the wrong spell ability showing up when selecting a feat during level up. Art added a new loading screen in Act 3 showing the busy streets of Baldur's Gate 3, fixed the skirt part of the adamantine splint armor missing for female dwarves, and fixed the adamantine scale mail clipping on large male characters. Some gameplay highlights here. You can now start custom mode games using honor mode mechanics when starting a new playthrough. Really? Okay, cool. You'll be able to do this via the rule set drop down. So if anyone of you just, want to experience some of the new additions to honor mode, you don't necessarily have to play on honor mode. You can just, start up a custom mode. That's really cool. The Kuo Toa that promised to build you an army will now support you in the final battle. Cool, unless they all died. The help that the Gondians promised for the final battle will now arrive in the form of a friendly Steel Watcher. Apologies from Xaner Tubin for the delay. The hair color options and character creation will now remain accessible after you choose the bald hairstyle so that you can continue fiddling around with eyebrow colors. Cool. Overhead dialogue that supports multiple player characters can now involve characters assigned to different players. They were limited to characters controlled by a single player until now. This means that there will be more banter among player characters in multiplayer games. I'm really looking forward to that because, usually it just grows really quiet for the other person. Group hide will no longer affect summons that aren't linked to the group in the party line. Changed the behavior for selecting camp supplies for a long rest. When selecting camp supplies that are stacked, the game now only takes what it needs from the stack. Good! That's a huge... Because usually it just, consumes all you have, like when it comes to food and supplies and stuff, so that's really good. You can no longer cheese the Leap of Faith trial at the Gauntlet of Shar. Damn it, by just clicking the final platform and letting your character pathfind their way there. Shar threatened to smite us if we didn't fix this one. Fixed a bug where resurrecting Lae'zel on the beach in Act 1 would cause her to appear in the party line but not in the world, preventing you from leaving Act 1. Patched up some save save games where Gale still had his necrotic aura when he shouldn't on load. Fixed Minthara's body sometimes turning invisible on the level up screen. That has been an issue for me. We sort of like the floating head and hands look, but hey. Animation, Asteria now has idle animations at camp that aren't just him reading a book. Maybe drinking some blood. Added a new idle animation for Minsk at camp. Boo may or may not have taught him some Tai Chi. Oh, he's doing like, oh, cool. So he's gonna... All right, Karlach will no longer brush the shaved side of her head. Polish the appearance of neck kisses and lovey-dovey scenes with Shadowheart on the Sharan path for characters with large body types and dragonborn characters. Okay, good stuff. Now, there are a ton of spoilers here with writing and flow and scripting and stuff, and I've already gone through some spoilers here, but I don't want to do it too much here because it's just going to be a nightmare to edit this. But let's pop on over to performance, continue to make performance and stability optimizations across the game and implemented many under the hood code fixes. Optimized performance, this will have a more noticeable impact in areas with large number of NPCs like the lower city. I've heard a lot of people, complain about that ever since the game released. Hopefully this will help that. Will reduce peak memory usage when loading levels for the first time. It will also be noticeable when managing lots of loot, e.g. when transferring everything from a camp chest to a character's inventory. Okay, good stuff. And in usual cases, we have tons and tons of crashes and blockers that they fixed here. But overall, I've enjoyed reading these patch notes just as always. I'll be honest here, I haven't been super excited to play through Baldur's Gate 3 in a while now because I've been waiting for this patch to drop for real. And now that it's officially out, I do feel like because they've now stabilized the patch, it's really time for me to get into another playthrough, and I'm gonna be as evil as all hell. And I'm thinking of streaming it, so if you guys want to check that out, remember to keep a lookout here on YouTube because I do stream here every now and then. But let me know what you guys think about all of these changes and fixes and the official mod support that is now in the game and the new evil endings. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. Mr. Holton signing out.